the Big 12 expansion story has really picked up and increased in pace to the point where a lot of the reporting is pointing to not only invitations going out, but those invitations being accepted for Big 12 expansion. 4 candidates are at the front of the line. It is Cincinnati, it is Houston, it is UCF, and it is BYU. And those 4, as we have discussed here on the podcast before, if you throw them all together and say, who's at the top of the list? Like, these are the no nonsense picks. If you're the Big 12 and you're trying to expand, is it weird for y'all that this is all happening as we're trying to go through the season? Are you concerned at all? Is it even like a front burner topic for you as we start to consider that by the end of this week, we could be looking at a future where there might even be like exit and arrival dates for when BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, 4 consistently top 40 programs over the last half decade or so, are going to be joining the Big 12.
Honestly, what I was wondering is because we talked about this a little bit last week. I think the 4 teams that they're inviting are the obvious 4 candidates to ask to join. But what I was wondering is, should they stop at 4? Should they maybe add 2 more? Because my thought process is, okay, you're adding UCF, so you're getting into Florida, which is good for recruiting. But don't you want to add like a second Florida team to maybe ensure that, everybody's getting at least 1 game in Florida per year as much as possible to help with recruiting in that way? So it's like, would you maybe bring in USF too? To that way, at least you're getting, both Tampa and Orlando. And then if there was another, whether it's Boise State or somebody else that looks attractive, because if you're taking those teams, the AAC is up for grabs as it is. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But as far as realignment on its own, I'm happy that we have games to distract from it, honestly.
Yeah. Why do you think they're doing it now? I have a thought on it, and it's that they don't want to become irrelevant and let a narrative get established that they are a lesser league because they have fewer teams. People will still talk about them being a lesser league because they have fewer good teams. But if you stay at, like a very low number of actual teams, I think you kind of lose standing a little bit. So I think that's why they went out and did this move so fast.
Do you think that it was a narrative that could be established even within there was a major disconnect when you're saying, look at, it was when I guess, UCF was down, USF was getting pasted, Tulsa was losing to UC Davis. Reports were that these 3 teams were going to be leaving the American. By the end of the weekend, Dana Holgerson got outscored 31-0 in the second half by Texas Tech. Like you were putting all these storylines together as if conference realignment, which happens at a university president level, and on-field performance were the same thing. Again, is that the narrative you were thinking they were also trying to avoid, where if the Big 12 stinks and they only have 8 teams and there's no news about expansion, that the college football fan is like just going to give up on the Big 12 and figure it's just going to dissolve anyway?
Right now, they are under the label of P5, right? I think they want to avoid any possible excuse to have people remove that label. Even if we think this league is probably not very good going forward if it doesn't have Texas, Oklahoma, I think filling the number of teams to remain P5 and not giving somebody that excuse, because it's a fairly easy excuse. Hey, you guys aren't P5 anymore. Like, you lost some teams, you really haven't replaced them. Like, they want to stay that P5 status, I think, and really make their other P5 conference affiliates force them out.
What are your predictions on this then, all 3 of you? Like, they add these 4 teams. They add BYU, they add Cincinnati, they add Houston, they add UCF. There's the Alliance and the SEC. When playoff expansion talks come, what do you put the odds of the Big 12 being a part of them at?
Good.
Yeah, especially if it goes 12 teams, like they're going to be a part of something.
See, I can't help but think that they're going to be like you, but I was just kind of saying, I think they're going to be kind of relegated to more of a G5 status with those 4 leagues. That's what they're going to look at them like. And I don't know if the Pac-12 has a legitimate argument, but hey, the Pac-12's got its alliance with the Big 10 and ACC. So,
but will it matter with 12 teams? Like I think that label, Group of 5, Power 5, kind of diminishes if there's 12 teams. Like strength of schedule is all those metrics that we use will still be determined. But if you're conference champ and you're, in this new kind of whatever they're going to call it, Big 12, Big 14, whatever it goes to, I think you're still in the conversation of the playoffs. So does it matter?
I don't think 12 is set anymore.
No, I clearly don't either. But don't you feel like 8 is like the worst case scenario?
Well, what if we do 8 with 6 autos?
Yeah. What if we do 2?
Stop that nonsense. Stop that nonsense. Get out of here with that.
But 8,
by the way,
6 autos and 2 wild cards prevents a total SEC takeover of the playoff system in a way where 6 autos in a 12-team system, you can pretty much assume that 4 minimum are probably going to be SEC teams.
I don't think they'll do autos.
Oh, you think they'll just scrap them all together?
I think they're going to scrap the autos because I think we actually saw a hint of what they're going to do with the proposed plan last time. Remember, it was basically the highest ranked conference champions. That way, like somebody could get left out. I don't think that some of the better leagues are interested in the autos. I think they want a chance to get more of their teams in a year where maybe the Pac-12 or the ACC or the Big 12 or whomever doesn't have really a worthy champion.
By the way, do you guys remember Syracuse Pitt to the ACC was announced like in September?
Yes.
That was the middle of the season. So this has been down. We've been down this road before as far as, middle of the season announcements. Is there any part of you that's looking at this, knowing what Bowlesby was accusing Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American, like, you're going to come after my guys? Oh, really? I'm going to come after your guys. Like, there's got to be personality conflicts behind there and egos hurt. And it's nasty out there. Like, this is survival of the fittest. So Bob Bowlesby just trying to do whatever to keep the Big 12 relevant. And if it means going after that conference that was going to steal my guys and has always tried to claim they're the Power 6, and now good luck. Like, I do think this is interesting, though, because I felt really bad for Boise State. I felt really bad for South Florida. Like, the programs now, and there's a lot of feel bad for everybody because now what happens to the American and everybody else? If
G5 Super Conference.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love to have them their own playoff.
Whatever's left, whatever's left of Conference USA, the American, Mountain West, the Sun Belt, get the 16 best group of 5 brands and teams, form a group of 5 super conference.